in Matlock and Division 4 and on the side playing regular people like murderers and rapists. But heaven forbid, when he found out I was playing a gay character, he was shocked. But I must admit, after a couple of months, when they sort of got along with it and understood the value of number 96, I became the white-haired boy of the Lebanese community, so it was wonderful. Yeah, that's seriously the greatest experience of my life. Really. And I consider myself, I really do consider myself an honorary member of the queer community.
You spoke in the documentary about how you wrote to gay men who wrote into you, fathers wrote to you saying they thought their sons were gay. When I chatted to Paul Caro from The Box, he said that he was very concerned about playing a gay man because he thought that straight men would harass him in the streets. And he said the actual opposite happened. If he went into a public bar, every straight man there wanted to buy him a drink. How did straight men react to you if they saw you at the height of fame?
Well, let me tell you a funny story. We were at one stage at the height of 96. We were, my then wife and a couple of friends were coming back via the Northern Beaches, and we called into one of the pubs there, and there was a group of bruisers. I mean, these long-haired bruisers who were, one of them was carrying a surfboard. They came up, and he stood right, and the biggest bugger of the lot stood right in front of me and just stared at me. And I thought, oh shit, I'm gone. And then this smile crossed his face, and he said, you bloody prick teaser. You're right though. For some reason, I don't know whether, I mean, I give a lot of credit to the writers for the way that they made Don Finlayson's character, who was very acceptable, and straight men, gay men, just were wonderful.
David Sale, who created the show, is retired now. He lives on the Gold Coast. Says he wishes that he could be here tonight, but he can't. But he told me a story that at the first script reading, that you came up to him very quietly when no one else was around and said to him, in this relationship, which person is the dominant person? And it's incredible to me that you understood that language of top, bottom, whatever, but what gay men did you know at that time? Was it your acting friends having gone through?
I would say that why I consider myself an honorary member of the queer community is that I would say at that stage of my life, probably 90% of my friends belonged to the gay community. In actual fact, some of my closest friends worked at, is it the Lido? The trans place, maybe Les Girls, yes. And I used to live with them, and they were just my friends, and so I had a lot of gay friends. I had a lot of great friends, and that's why I was very hesitant at the start when I did go for the interview for the show. They asked me, and they saw the look on my face when they said, how do you feel about playing a gay character? And I think they must have sort of seen my expression. And I said, no, it's not what you think. It's not what you think. And then I said to them, because of the gay friends I have, I don't want to screw it up. Yeah.
Sarah, you're a screenwriter. You worked on many shows, The Secret She Keeps, Wonderland. You created the character of Dr. Charlotte in All Saints. All Saints. Sarah created a lesbian doctor in All Saints, and when she left the show, they turned the character straight.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Are you here, Joe Porter?
Talk to us about something you said in that documentary we had to cut out at the time, that the economics of having gay characters in the cast and why this is an issue sometimes of economics.
Yeah, it's something most people don't think about. They think you can create whatever character you wish. But if you take a long-running show, it could be 44 episodes a year, you have a massive budget, but not that many for core characters. So when you're creating these shows, you might have 10 core characters if you're lucky. Let's say, for argument's sake, because it's very generous, 5 men, 5 women, we'll try and split it down the middle. If 2 of those men and women, for instance, are in couples already when the show starts, you've got 3 single women, 3 single men. If you put 2 of those women together or 2 of those men together, now you've got 1 woman and 3 men, or 1 man and 3 women, who you can turn into relationship drama, and it just doesn't work. The figures don't add up. And then when it comes down to the budget, they can't afford those extra characters, so then the extra characters have to be guests. And you can only have 2 guests a week. So if you use one of your guests to be a gay character, they also have to bring drama. They can't just be a nice gay character who comes in for a 6-week period and has a little fling and leaves, because that's not good use of your guest within drama. So then that character often has to be bad or bring trouble or in some way cause conflict. And that's why so much representation of gay people in television was poor, because they were guest characters bringing in drama.
Yeah. Or the other way to do it was to make the character bisexual. Because one of the most fascinating things as I rewatched 600 episodes of Number 96 to do this, is that the character of Dudley, who was Don's longest boyfriend for 3 years, he became this ladies' man, and you know, all of us, Ian McLean, who does the website, Nigel Joles, who's written 2 great books about Number 96, and even Chad Haywood, when I asked him, I said, why did they make your character bisexual? Was it because you were a ladies' man in real life and you got fed up sleeping with Joe? And he said, well, that's not quite what happened, but I also wouldn't say that's not what did happen. But when I rewatched the show, I actually realised that the character of Dudley was bisexual the whole way through. There were constant references to it. So the fact that he eventually left you for women wasn't a writer's desperation thing. It was something that they've always been referencing.
And you mentioned that Chad is actually a ladies' man. Wow, I tell you, forget it. He was just amazing. He had so many women chasing him. And of course he let them catch him. but no, Chad, and he maintained his rather limp-wristed portrayal of Dudley, even when he became straight, which was amazing, absolutely amazing.
He also drove the double-decker bus, didn't he? Sometimes when you went on crowd appearances.
Yeah, very cool.
Please, if anyone would like to ask a question, we've got some volunteers. Put your hand up now if you've got a question. There's one down here from Barry. We'll take that mic and we'll pass one here between us.
Oh, good day. This is a question for Joe. Look, thank you very much for coming tonight to the world premiere. We were told in the doco that you received a lot of fan mail from gay men during your time with Number 96. Much to your credit, we were told that you answered each letter. Why did you feel that you had to go over and above your duty as an actor? And what sort of themes and subjects did these letters contain?
Well, maybe in my first life I may have been gay. I don't know. But I felt this. I just felt that there was. I had a huge responsibility playing the role, and especially being straight. It was a heavy burden on my shoulders to make sure. And when these fathers, and they were, and some of them were heartbreaking. I mean, some of the letters that I got, and not just me, but a lot of the cast members got, but the ones that I got are particularly concerned with either the father writing about his son's sexuality and what could I do to help. I would respond, but then in my response I would also say, look, I'm not the expert on this. I do have some gay friends that would be only too happy to talk to you or to talk to your son. And also, but the funniest ones were the mothers who said, I've got a daughter who can straighten you out. Oh, okay, yeah. And then the other stories, the other amazing stories, was during the course of number 96, I mean, we were very fortunate to get a lot of publicity, and particularly my character. And we were on the front cover of Women's Day, the TV Week, TV Times, you name it, we were on the cover. And the rumour got around that, the only reason he got married is because he's really gay, and he doesn't want anyone to know that he's gay. This was after my first son was born. And he didn't father the child either. No, he brought someone in to do that.
It's interesting you say that, because if we actually look at the publicity at the time, you are always on the cover of TV Week by yourself or with a woman. Chad Hayward is on the cover of TV Week by himself. TV Week was a magazine that never showed a picture of Don and Dudley together. They were the only iconic couple in the show not to be on the front page of the magazine, and they only ever referred to you as flatmates. So there was a reaction from the press that here was a show showing that gay people could be normalised, and yet the press, and we know for a fact too that some executives at Channel 10 did try to change your characters straight. Yeah, tell us that story.
They did, and for a while there, Bill Harmon listened to them because it's money, that's what television's all about. But I must say that when I heard that, I went straight to Bill, and I said, Bill, if you're thinking of changing my character and turning my character straight, I don't want to be involved in the show. Because that's just, I'm sort of turning my back on everything that's been done over the past few years. Now, whether that had anything to do with them not continuing with that train of thought, I don't know. But I certainly would not have wanted to do that.
Well, Bill Harmon actually threatened Channel 10. He said, if you ask me to do that again, I'll take the show off you and give it to Channel 9.
Yes.
So Bill Harmon's a queer ally too, with you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Actually, they all were. Bill and Don, and of course, the lovely David and Johnny White. Yeah.
Questions from the crowd, anyway. There we go.
All out there in the box. Wonderful to see so many people.
It's amazing.
Isn't it? I'm
A full cinema, Joe.
I'm absolutely stunned, really.
Andrew, firstly, thank you, and thank you to Margie for bringing number 96 to an entirely new generation, the Will and Grace generation, which, by the way, was on another TV show with a gay lawyer, just saying. I wanted to know, in terms of LGBTI timeline in Australia, number 96 finished, and then the following year we had the first Mardi Gras. What do you think the storyline would have been for Don if we were able to see Mardi Gras on television? And second of all, do you think that the general societal acceptance of Mardi Gras was kind of influenced by having number 96 on television at the same time?
As a writer, I'd like to answer the story part of that question. I think if I'd been writing back then, Don would have not been able to attend Mardi Gras because he was a lawyer. and his career would have been damaged by it. So probably there would have been some 4 a.m. of the soul around that, or he would have gone and then he would have been seen and he would have been discovered, and that could have affected his career. That's probably how they would have done.
Or he could have gone into bat for someone who was arrested at it. Although, the other interesting part of that is, had number 96 continued into the 80s, how would they have handled AIDS? Because I don't actually think the character of Don was someone who would have possibly had AIDS, but I wonder whether they would have brought in another character, you know, or...
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, a lot of people ask me, how was it sort of kissing John Orchik and kissing Chard and kissing all the men? And I loved it. I get paid to do it. But true, I don't think Don's character would have, in any way, shape or form, been associated with AIDS in that way. It was just not that kind of. But then again, I feel terrible saying that, because a lot of AIDS came about because people didn't know. You know, and it wasn't just sex. There was many other things that brought about the AIDS pandemic.
I think what's really interesting about what we saw on TV through all of this is this fantastic documentary about to start on the ABC called Queer Australia, which is about the queer history of Australia. But this is about how straight people learnt about queer people through what was mainstream entertainment. And, you know, I kind of agree with you. I think that Don was a character that... we don't want to use that word straight acting, but I guess he was being the gay guy next door. And we know that he was based on a character that David Sale had met in real life and didn't know that this man was gay, because he just came across like a regular guy.
And the whole thing about Don's character is that my character was very protected by the writers and by the producers. Because I think they knew that they were onto something that could be sort of game-changing in some way. So they made sure that his character remained true in that sense, you know.
True. Questions from the audience? Oh yes, I'll come up to you.
Run, little Ben.
Hi, Joe. What I was wondering was, playing a gay character, was that any kind of risk to your career and future roles that you might be up for? So were you at all advised against it by your agents or, business team? And did it label you in any way after 96 Wrapped?
I've been very blessed. I was so blessed with number 96, and I was very blessed when number 96 finished, because I went immediately into other series and theatre and film. I was not in any way, my career did not suffer at all. In actual fact, what happened was that I became even more in demand because of the notoriety, so to speak, of 96 and the character that I played. So, no, I did not, my career did not suffer at all, so, which I'm pleased to say. Because, I made a commitment. If you make a commitment and it's from the heart and you believe it, and I think the audience know that you're fair income. You are real. And they watched the other shows that I was in. I played this horrible person in The Young Doctors, and You know.
Yeah.
I did not suffer at all. Does that answer your question?
Cool.
Another question? No, you're right. Okay.
I have one last question, but it's for Andrew. So Andrew, what's the plan for Outrageous in the future? What are you hoping for?
I'm thinking now that we've got that. My dream with this has always been to take this around the world and show it somewhere. I think it's really important that the Americans and the Brits start putting on the record of great moments in queer history that Australia did this all first. And look, in their defence, they never saw the show. And they never saw the show because it couldn't screen anywhere else in the world. No other free-to-air network in the world could have dealt with the nudity. You could have maybe cut the nudity out, but you can't take out gay characters. You can't take out a white woman kissing an African American man, which ruled the show out from America from that episode alone. So the rest of the world doesn't know this, but my hope now is that we can take it to some queer film festivals. And I also hope too that someone wants to make some more episodes of that so that we can see what happened afterwards, because it's really interesting. With the Grim Reaper campaign, there's a massive TV story about that with AIDS in the 80s. And then of course reality TV. You get all these incredible, real queer people on TV as we enter the 21st century. So hopefully there's more, but either way, I hope to take this on the festival circuit. So, we've got to wrap up now for time. What we will now watch is an episode of Number 96. And just to let you know, this is actually several episodes sort of smooshed together that I've cut together because I thought it was important for you to see that whilst we're having a very serious discussion, Number 96 was a show that was, I think, a big hit because of its comedy. So I really wanted to make sure that we could see some of the campness of it. Our friend Wendy Blacklock playing Mummy McDonald, Edie McDonald. She is the star of this episode, becoming the PR for the gay lib movement. I think you're really going to enjoy it, but I think this episode gives you a bit of an idea of the rhythm of the show. Don's character was always drama, not a lot of comedy, but all around him was swirling a lot of campering.
Can I tell you something very funny? When Wendy sat down next to me, she said, you know, Andrew told me about the scene where I was doing all this with the gay community and doing all the PR. I don't remember a thing.
Well, it's 50 years ago, it's okay. So look, enjoy this episode of Number 96 and we'll be at the festival bar. I think it's downstairs afterwards. Thank you so much everyone for coming. Thank you Sarah. Thank you Brian.